Hey guys, welcome back. Turnpike to Turnpike 2014 Fantasy Football. I'm League Commissioner Kevin Babula, and this is the Week 1 preview show. I gotta be honest, I was not prepared to do one this week, but then I started reading all your posts on the message board, and I know you guys are just busting my balls about actually doing something. So I figured, what the hell, I'll put together a quick preview show for Week 1, maybe highlight a couple things I thought about the draft, talk about everybody's team, maybe look at the first week's matchups, and maybe go from there into whatever this new season's going to be. I'm excited about the new season. Once again, I'm really proud of everybody. The draft went really well. No real surprises. I want to welcome Aaron Stamp on board now to the Turnpike family, as he's filling that final spot left by Anthony Parisi. I think if Aaron's draft was any indication of how he's going to perform this year in Turnpike to Turnpike, I think that we are in for a formidable challenge from yet again another team owner in Turnpike to Turnpike. So one of the things I want to do real quick is I just want to go over some highlights and lowlights, I think, of each draft pick made this season. Not each draft pick, please, I'm not going to redo that, but I'm going to go over what I think is every team's best draft pick and every team's worst/reach draft pick. So I want to start off with the best. I'm going to go basically in the order of the way that we drafted, from Bond all the way down to Matt Dreyfus. And I'm not going to count any first-round pick or second-round pick because, let's be honest, you should have gotten those right. But what I do want to focus on is picks further down in the draft that you might have made that I think were outstanding. And again, opinions are like assholes. Everybody's got one, and I sure have one. I'm probably going to be wrong on everything that I'm going to say to you right now, but it's my opinion, and like I said, I've got one. So I think that Mike Bond's best draft pick was in the 3rd round with Monte Ball. Sliding down in the 3rd round, Monte Ball is going to have a huge part in the Denver offense, and I think he can easily score 10 to 15 touchdowns this year in that offense, and I think that's going to help Mike in a big way. Sheehan, I think 7th round came along, and he found incredible value in Tom Brady. If Rob Gronkowski stays healthy all year, Tom Brady will be back up to being a top 5 fantasy quarterback. He wasn't last year because Gronk wasn't healthy. Goldie, I loved your 6th round pick of Matt Ryan. I think Matt Ryan is in store for a big year again this year. I think with a healthy Julio Jones and a healthy Roddy White and throw in some Harry Douglas, I think that they could have a very big passing attack. I think Matt Ryan could be a top 5 quarterback. Bobby, where I think you made your best pick was in the 7th round when you selected Cordell Patterson. Now, I know you don't know how to say his name, but it's Cordell Patterson. And I think you got a steal in the 7th round. He's going to be an electric player, and I think he's going to be somebody that you're going to be able to plug in your flex slot every week, whether he's returning kicks for you, taking a ball on an end around 70 yards, or catching a deep ball. I think you're going to love having him on your team this year. Jeff Szymanski, in the 8th round, you took your quarterback. You waited on your quarterback, and you got Phillip Rivers. Phillip Rivers is one of those non-sexy quarterbacks, but he is just solid production week in, week out. You'll get 2-3 touchdowns a week from him. You'll get 250 to 350 every week. Good pick. I like it right there. Kenny, I'm going way late with you. Round 12, Terrence West, the running back from Cleveland. The Cleveland Browns backup running back who was drafted, the rookie. I had him slotted. I was going to take him just after you did. I think he's going to spell Ben Tate, and I think he's going to take Ben Tate's job. Ben Tate is basically made of glass. Even when he was backing up Arian Foster in the Houston Texans, he was injured all the time as well. So I do not think Ben Tate is going to be able to handle the load of a full-time back, and I think that Terrence West is going to come in and gain a lot of yards for that team. Good pick. Great value in the 12th round. Chris Long. I think Devonta Freeman in the 8th round was very good value for you. You know that Steven Jackson isn't going to be playing much longer for the Atlanta Falcons. If Steven Jackson makes it through the first 4 games as the starter, it'll be amazing. And Devonta Freeman's going to be the guy who comes in and scoops up those yards, and I think that was a great pick for you. Aaron, 8th round again for you. I think Nick Foles, great value for a quarterback that threw 29 touchdowns last year to 2 interceptions. Is that what the numbers were? I know that his interception to touchdown ratio will go up this year, but so will his touchdown total. He's playing in a dynamic offense. Chip Kelly runs that incredible offense that you all know, and I think Nick Foles is going to be a big-time player for Aaron. My favorite pick of my draft was in the 8th round as well, where I got Jay Cutler. I think Jay Cutler has a chance to be a major quarterback this year, with the running back in Matt Forte, who catches the ball for touchdowns. He's got the 2 great wide receivers in Alshon Jeffrey and Brandon Marshall. And I'm really excited about Jay Cutler, who's somebody that I targeted, somebody that I wanted, and I'm glad I have him. Greg, big acquisition in the 9th round for you when you got your tight end, Zach Ertz. Zach Ertz is going to be a great tight end this year. He's already flashed in the preseason. He flashed toward the end of last season. He's going to be somebody you're going to be able to plug in every week and not have to worry about any loss of production from your tight end spot. John Moore, Golden Tate in the 6th round. Now, Golden Tate isn't a flashy name. He's not a sexy name, but he's going to be somebody that everybody's going to notice this year. He's going to be on that offense with Calvin Johnson on the other side of the field. And Calvin's never had somebody to really help him in the passing game. This is going to be the guy. Of course, Matt Stafford's going to be the guy who's going to be able to get him the ball, and I think that the combination of Matt Stafford to Golden Tate's going to be a big deal for you this year. And of course, Matt Dreyfus. Matt, you always draft really well. You did so again this year, and this year in the 3rd round you grabbed Andrew Luck, who I think is going to be just an absolute dynamic quarterback this year. I'm really excited about what he can do. He's got some big-time weapons now with T.Y. Hilton and Reggie Wayne, and even Hakeem Nicks looks like he's ready to perform again this year. So I think that that's where we're going to be going with your highlight. Now, on the other side, we all made kind of, head-scratching picks, and I know that I did. I know everybody did. So right off the bat, I want to start off with Bond, and you know where I'm going. It's that guy who plays quarterback down in Washington. In the 8th round, you took RG3. Let's be honest, he did not look good this preseason at all. Looked bad, actually. Kirk Cousins outperformed him all over the field, and yet RG3 is going to be starting. I doubt he's going to be starting for your team. I think Tony Romo is going to be your guy for a while. Sheesh, 4th round, he took Wes Welker. Wes Welker was a sketchy pick to begin with. He had concussion problems all year last year, and he already had one this preseason. I think that 4th round pick is going to come back to bite you for not taking somebody else there. There were other wide receivers available to you there, Cordarrelle Patterson being one of them. Goldie. I can't really find one glaring reach that you took, but I did find it interesting that you took 3 Ravens in a row at one point, where you took Torrey Smith, Dennis Pitta, and Bernard Pierce. That's kind of interesting to put all your eggs in one basket for a short run like that. Hopefully they'll pay off for you. Torrey Smith is going to have some company in that backfield, in that receiving core with Pitta. It's going to be interesting to see how you use those parts. Jeff Szymanski. Obviously, 5th round, Trent Richardson. Trent Richardson is one of those guys who's dead to me in fantasy football until I see him actually prove me otherwise. He has not looked good this preseason. He did not look good last season. And he's got 2 people behind him in Ma Bradshaw and the rookie chasing him up for some carries. So could be a waste of a pick in the 5th round. Kenny, 4th round, he took Cam Newton. This is not the year for Cam Newton, Kenny. Cam Newton already has rib injury. He's had some other injuries in the preseason, and he has basically nobody to throw to outside of a rookie wide receiver in Kelvin Benjamin. No matter how good he might be this year, this is not the year to get Cam Newton. I think this is the year he falls out of the top 5 in QB scoring, which he has been in for the past 3 years. I don't see it happening this year for Cam Newton. Chris, you took Chris Johnson in the 4th round. A lot of mocks I've been seeing him drop down in the 6th, 7th round. A lot of backs were available on the board. I know that you're probably thinking that he's going to fit in well for that Jets offense. But you got to remember our rule. We don't draft Jets. Jets are fantasy death. You drafted a Jet in the 4th round. Might come back to get you all year. Aaron. Stephen Ridley. What can I say? Stephen Ridley in the 5th round. Guy's getting chased all over the field right now for playing time by James White. Shane Vereen's going to be the starter. There's all kinds of commotion in that New England backfield. You never really want to pin your hopes on a Bill Belichick running back. Now, I'm going to throw myself on the sword here and say my biggest reach / head scratcher was Kyle Rudolph. I took him in the 5th round. Now, to be honest with you, I took him too early. I kind of panicked. My planning and everything kind of went askew there, and I had other things I had planned that I wanted to do in the 6th, 7th, and 8th round, which I did. So I had to go and do what I did by reaching for the tight end that I truly wanted. Side note, Bob Crane and I have a bet going on. You guys all know about it. I just want to reinforce it here on video. My tight end, Kyle Rudolph, will outperform his tight end, Jason Witten, in total points by the end of the season. Whoever's tight end is higher plays Turnpike to Turnpike for free next year because the loser is buying. And another bet we made that was off a little bit later was me and Sheesh. Brian Shane and I made total points by team. His team versus my team for $50. So if his team scores more total at the end of the year, I give him 50, vice versa. Greg, Michael Crabtree in the 4th round. You know, take it from who's saying this. Michael Crabtree in the 4th round was a reach. Believe me. There's a lot of receivers on that team right now. Colin has a hard time hitting all of them all the time. It's going to be interesting. John, another Niner. Frank Gore. Frank Gore, I know you think he looks great in the preseason, but Frank Gore's 31. He's going to do the same thing this year that he did last year. He's going to be strong out of the gates. By the second half, he's going to kill you. Ask anybody who had him last year. He dies down. There's a reason that the Niners went out and got Carlos Hyde. They're going to try to split carries. Maybe not 50-50, but more like maybe 60-40 with Gore getting the 60 and Hyde getting the 40. But you know what else Hyde's going to get is the goal line work, because that's where the banging comes in, and they don't want to risk Gore. So they're going to give the young buck, Carlos Hyde, the ball. And Matt, your biggest reach was obviously MJD. Just like Jets, you drafted a Raider. I don't like drafting Raiders. They're scary to draft. But MJD also has some serious backfield competition with the often injured Ryan McFadden. But he's still going to have that challenge with McFadden for the sharing the ball. So using a 6th-round draft pick isn't that bad of a reach. I still like your team. So now let's get into this coming week's matchups. Week 1, first week of the Turnpike season. I want to start off right away with my match against Jeff Szyminski's Paper Tiger. You're going to have Rivers versus Colin Kaepernick, Matt Forte versus Dez Bryant. I'm going to have my Kyle Rudolph on display. I'm still not sure what I'm going to do with all my wide receivers, but I'll let you know. Jeff, you're going to have, obviously you're going to have Randall Cobb, Matt Forte, and aforementioned Phillip Rivers. Aaron Stampa, in his first Turnpike game, will be taking on Greg Long's Mount Laurel Lancers. This is going to be his big-time running back core of Eddie Lacy and Doug Martin taking on Peyton Manning, the league MVP, and Le'Veon Bell. Smoke him if you got him. Should be a fun match for you, Aaron, and you too, Greg. I think that you'll enjoy playing him for the first time, and you guys will be playing each other again sometime this season too, because we all, whoever we're playing this week, we will be playing again at some time throughout the season. Eastfall Blunts, Mike Bond's team, taking on Deputy Commissioner Chris Long's as Guardian Thunder Gods, where Mike Bond will have his #1 pick overall, Slim Shady, taking the ball, as well as Monty Ball, who I discussed earlier, where Chris will have Drew Brees and Rob Gronkowski. Up next, we've got Matt Dreyfus is off in the corner, taking on Michael Sam's Gerbils. How about that, Michael Sam, not making a team? Sad, but I don't want you to change your name, Sheesh. You got to do this. More on name changes in a minute. Matt's going to have A.J. Green, Julio Jones, and Andrew Luck taking on Jamal Charles and Julius Thomas. That's going to be a great game, one to keep an eye on. Then we've got Bob Crane's Julius Jones taking on John Moore's Downingtown Gravediggers. Calvin Johnson and Aaron Rodgers on Bob's team taking on Brandon Marshall and Jimmy Graham. That's going to be a high-scoring game. And then we got Kenny's Godfathers. Now, Kenny, let me let you in on something. When I spend a week doing graphics for team names and everything, kind of let me know somehow that you're going to do a team name change at the last minute, because I can't tell you the amount of graphics I have right now for you that are done, so I have to go through and change them all. Thanks, buddy. You're going to be taking on the defending champion, Jeffrey Hazakawi Golden Bombs Hamilton Square Possum. Kenny, you're going to have Marshawn Lynch, Arian Foster, and Cam Newton, as we spoke about earlier. Where Jeff, you're going to have really just a great running back combination of Adrian Peterson, DeMarco Murray, and Giovanni Bernard. Really solid running backs. So that's it for next week, this coming week's matchups. What I want to do just before we sign out is, obviously I'm not going to do Meet the Manager now because I kind of threw this together last minute. I will be doing Meet the Manager again this year. Maybe not every week, maybe some, I'll figure it out. We're going to do some other segments. We want to keep track of the bet that Bob and I have going on between the two tight ends of Kyle Rudolph and Jason Witten. And also, we want to keep track of some other side bets. If anybody out there wants to make any other side bets, we'll be interested to hear those as well. But before we go, I just want to give you who I believe at the end of this season will be the 6 teams competing in the Turnpike to Turnpike fantasy football playoffs. This is new. I'm doing it for the first time. Up first, I think that he defends his title by getting back into the playoffs. I think Jeff Araya has a Cowboy Goldenbaum and his Hamilton Square Possum will make the playoffs. As I said, Adrian Peterson, DeMarco Murray, Giovanni Bernard, if they all stay healthy, that's going to be a very, very formidable team for any one of us to compete with. I also like Matt Dreyfus to make the playoffs once again, with off in the corner, with A.J. Green, Julio Jones, Andrew Luck. Those are great wide receivers, great quarterback. I also like, as much as I hate to say this, Bob Crane's team, Julius Jones, with Calvin Johnson, Aaron Rodgers, and the before-mentioned Cordell Patterson. I think that he's going to find gold there. I also like previous champion from a couple years ago, Mike Bonds, East Falls Blunts, with LaShawn McCoy, Alshon Jeffrey, and Monte Ball. I think they could be a dynamic team. Deputy Commissioner Chris Long, I know everybody's going to say, of course I picked him. I don't always pick him. I'm picking him this year because I really like Demaryius Thomas. I think he's going to be an unbelievable wide receiver. Chance to be the #1 wide receiver in football this year. Drew Brees, and a healthy Rob Gronkowski. He risked the pick in the 3rd round, taking Gronk. If he stays healthy, he will reap the rewards, and he will get into the playoffs. And the last team to make the playoffs, I'm going to have to pick myself. I have to. My Warriors of Babylon. And let me tell you what I like about my team. I knew going into this draft that I was going to be thin at running back, and I'm fine with that. My determination was to be dominant at wide receiver, really solid at quarterback, really solid at tight end, and both my tight ends, by the way, are going to be good. Kyle Rudolph and Travis Kelce will both be very good tight ends this year. But I love my wide receivers. Dez Bryant is going to be a monster this year. His new offensive coordinator chucks the ball around all the time. He is going to be in for a big year. I love Jordy Nelson. I love the fact that he's a part of that passing attack with Aaron Rodgers. I also love Keenan Allen. But what I really love about my team, and I'm not sure when I'm going to use them yet, because at this point in the season, we still really don't know what we have in each of our teams. But what I think I have in my team is the Rookie of the Year. And of course, I'm talking about Brandon Cooks. I think that he's going to be the electric rookie this year. Maybe not just so much for his talent, but I think it just happens to be his talent, his skill set in the right system, given that he's going to be playing with Sean Payton as his head coach and Drew Brees chucking him in a rock. I love that. I don't know when I'm going to unleash him. I don't think it's going to be week 1. Like I said, we all don't know what we have as a team yet. We'll find out soon, and I'll talk to you next week. Until then, I'm League Commissioner Kevin Babula. Bye!